Recorded Books presents Along the Rio Grande by Tracie Peterson, narrated by Barbara Mcculloh. Chapter 1. July 1899. San Marcial, New Mexico Territory. Susanna Ragsdale Jenkins stepped off the Santa Fe passenger train and sighed. The breeze outside was only mildly helpful. Inside the stuffy cars of the train, women had actually fainted from the heat. Susanna's mother had to be revived no fewer than 10 times. Of course, that was typical for her overly dramatic mother. Gladys Ragsdale did love attention. Susanna looked around as her father assisted Mother from the train. Her brother Gary was already hailing a porter for their bags. At 18, nothing seemed to deter him. He was energetic and impressionable, as well as foolish and thoughtless. He'd barely made it through school, and as the spoiled and pampered son of wealthy parents, no one really cared. Susanna had watched her parents try to manage him, but Gary had no respect for either of them. All they had taught him was how to live a life of privilege and the expectation that someone, somewhere, would provide the means for his desires. With that no longer the case, Gary had become even more headstrong and impatient. It was one of the reasons Susanna had agreed to accompany her family to New Mexico. That, and she saw it as the easiest way to avoid the promise she'd made her dying husband. She buried that thought deep as Gary approached. "I'm going to see what kind of fun is to be had in this town." Beneath his stylish straw hat, his golden-brown hair was dripping sweat. Susanna fixed him with a stern look and shook her head. "No. You will help Father get Mother settled at the hotel. Then you will make certain our bags are delivered to the hotel." He looked at her for a moment, as if trying to decide whether he'd go along with this new order. For a full minute, Susanna wondered if there was going to be trouble. But when Mother cried out and began to crumple to her knees, Gary went to help her. What was Uncle Harrison thinking, sending a pair like her parents to manage a hotel in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico? Susanna was appalled. San Marcial was a railroad town, a headquarters for the Rio Grande division of the Santa Fe Railway. "You have wasted your inheritance by investing in schemes that you were warned against. Time and again, you put your family in a state of diminished financial security, always relying on me to straighten out the situation. Well, no more," Uncle Harrison had said on their last night in Topeka. "I have no choice but to cut you off from further financial support and make you work for a living." Susanna could still hear her mother's shriek of distaste. "I wasn't born to be married to a man who has to do physical labor. How embarrassing! Oh, the thought of it is enough to give me apoplexy." "Well, have your fits somewhere besides my hotel sitting room," Harrison Ragsdale had demanded. Susanna had been invited to the meeting only because her uncle knew she could help keep some sense of order. Having lived her first year of mourning with her in-laws, she had agreed to move with her parents to New Mexico and see them settled at the hotel her uncle had built. But her years living with her husband had helped her forget just how bad her family could be. Now that they were broke, it was bound to be even worse. Susanna swept pieces of soot and ash from her black gown. She had already determined that this would be her last day of full mourning. It had been over a year, after all, and she hated black. The constant reminder of what she'd lost, what she would never have again. "Where is this supposed hotel?" her mother asked, as Father and Gary supported her on either side. "Uncle Harrison said it was 2 blocks from the train. Easy walking." Susanna motioned for the porter Gary had given up on securing. A black man came to her immediately.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?